Hello, Instagram. How are you guys doing today? Lucky you, Instagram. You guys are getting me every day, back to back, back to back. I was live yesterday. I'm back today. Hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my coaching client series. Okay? This is Dr. Iyabo Webzel. Welcome to my coaching client series. I'm so excited to introduce this powerhouse woman, this intelligent woman. She's a physician. She's very passionate about women's lives. She's a leader in her own right. She's so ready to help women all over the world find work-life balance, find financial freedom, time freedom, be able to leverage their leadership skills. So, my platform is geared towards helping women, and my platform is geared towards women who are high performing or who want to be high performing women. Okay, those are the kinds of women I attract. Women who are high achievers, who really just want to elevate in their field, do new things, tap into their creative gifts, and also help other people. So Dr. Olamide Zaka is one of those brilliant women, and I'm bringing her on now. We're just going to get started, okay? I think most of you joining this live already know who I am, so I'm not going to introduce myself, okay? You guys can go to the link in my bio to find out about me, but I'm pretty sure most of you know who I am. Now, sound check. Can everybody hear me clearly? Can everybody see me and hear me clearly? And I'll bring Dr. Mide. Dr. Mide's username is Dear Dr. Mide. Hi, Dr. Mide. How are you?
I'm good.
I love your smile. Your smile alone is enough to brighten up the whole room. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. So, Dr. Olamide Zaka I'm going to introduce her. I'm going to talk about her a bit, and then we'll dive in. Please, men and women, please type your questions whenever you're ready. You can type it in the chat, but honestly, it's much better if you type it in the question box so that I don't lose it, okay? The topic for today is getting into shape post-childbirth, okay? Getting into shape post-childbirth, but our conversation is not going to be limited to that. We have many things we want to talk about. I have a whole list of questions for Dr. Mide ready for her because, as you guys know, she's a physician. She's a doctor of adults. She's an internist, an internal medicine doctor. So if you guys have any questions for her that relates to getting into shape or related to leadership or related to how to use your gifts and your passions to help people, or you're a doctor who wants to talk about, how Dr. Mide was able to get into that leadership position, or how is she able to tap into her creative gifts. Any questions, just ask. But Dr. Mide is a board-certified internal medicine physician. She graduated from medical school over a decade ago in 2010. She trained in internal medicine because she enjoys caring for adult patients with a focus on their longitudinal health and wellness. Listen, okay? Dr. Mide is not yet 40 years old. She's already the medical director of the hospital medicine group she works in. Okay? You see now why she's so, why she's so passionate, and her vision and mission is to help women also tap into their leadership skills. Because honestly, many of us can do it, okay? Many of us can do it. She works in an administrative capacity, and being in a leadership position gives her access to power, and it gives her the opportunity to make changes, and she wants the same thing for you. She wants that for many women. She is very passionate about helping women get into leadership positions, because the more leadership positions we have women in, the more advocacy we have coming from women, right? And the more power we have, the more financial power, economic power, and all of that we have. So she wants to help you as well. She wants you to break out of your shell and be the leader that you're meant to be. She truly believes that women should be in more leadership positions worldwide, And that's why she's also passionate about helping women achieve emotional, physical, and financial health. Because without being healthy, right, we're not able to fulfill those leadership positions. We have to, you hear me say it all the time, that I have to take care of my energy levels. Okay, if I'm not exercising, eating right most of the time, sleeping well, taking time for laughter and for fun and travel and all that, I won't have the energy to be coming out to serve you guys all the time. So basically, that's her mission and vision. It's to help professional women tap into their unique skill sets so that they can transform into the best version of themselves. Dr. Mide, welcome. Say hi to everyone.
Thank you so much, Dr. Iyabo, for having me on. Thank you for being such a fantastic role model and mentor. I really appreciate all of your support.
Indeed, my pleasure. My pleasure, my pleasure. Is there anything that I missed about you? Is there anything you want to add that I didn't say?
No, I think you mentioned, you hit all the highlights.
Okay.
I especially, just wanted to talk a little bit more about kind of my leadership positions and administrative roles, but we'll get into that as the live continues.
As the life goes on. Okay, wonderful. So my first question for you is, and I guess it's kind of obvious, but tell us why you're so passionate about helping women.
Well, my passion for women honestly stems from the fact that, one, I am a woman, and two, some of the biggest role models in my life really who have impacted my life positively have been women, from my mom to my sister to non-family members who have been female, who have really taken it upon themselves to mentor me and help me achieve some of my goals and my dreams. And I want to pass that on to other women. I want to be that difference maker for them, just like I had folks who served as different makers for me. And I also honestly firmly believe that when you educate a woman, whether it's financially, about their lifestyle, about work-life balance, whatever the case may be, I really feel like you are passing that information on to an entire community, because women share and they typically give back. And those are all the reasons why I am so passionate about helping women to be the best versions of themselves.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, well, you and I have like identical mission and vision, honestly. Yeah, for me too. I was surrounded by a lot of women. My family is full of women. I have a lot more nieces than I have nephews. We just have women everywhere. Yeah, so, and I'm just so passionate about it. And I just feel like we need more advocacy. You know, there's no way we're going to be able to improve the future for our daughters coming behind us if we don't advocate now for changes. So thanks so much for that. And I know you're passionate about being lifestyle and leadership coach, right? Lifestyle and leadership coach. And I just can't wait to tell people, let me finish typing this. Please ask us your questions. I cannot wait to tell people this, to boast about something. Please ask us your questions anytime. Let me pin this. Post and pin. Post and pin. Okay, are you there? Because your internet was, okay, yeah. So before we even go into the lifestyle and leadership and getting into shape post childbirth, ladies, Dr. Mide has 2 kids below the age of 5. She has a 5-year-old and she has a 22-month-old, and she is in great shape. Okay, her waist is this tiny. Okay, her waist is this tiny after 2 kids, and the 2 kids are still little. So I'm telling you, she has some wonderful tips there. She wants to help you, a lot of women, and a lot of what she has told me is really taking care of our emotional and our mental wellness. You know, we're always just thinking of exercise, this, that, but if everything isn't okay with our mind and our heart and how we feel, we're not going to lose the weight. So I had to put that out there, that she has 2 young kids and she is in great shape. So Dr. Mide, you would like to be a coach, but there's a lot of buzz around the Instagram and I guess social media space that the coaching space is getting saturated. It's oversaturated. There are many coaches. What do you feel about that? If it's oversaturated, why are you still out to become a
Well,
coach?
I think that's a fantastic question. I've never been a fan of thinking that any area or space of vocation is saturated. It's just never been my mindset, because I feel like we all have unique gifts and talents, and we can have 10 people doing technically the same job, entrepreneur, but offering their products and their services differently. I feel like there's plenty of room for everybody to grow and to spread their wings and fly. And so I'm not a big fan of saying things are saturated, because I think it only discourages folks from getting into that field. And I'm not a fan of discouraging others. I think we all have things to offer that are unique to us, and I want us all to do that. So no, to answer your question, I don't believe that it's saturated. I believe that I have something different and unique to offer that no other coach out there has to offer.
I love that. I love that. And that's the mindset all women need to adopt, that there can be 500 lifestyle coaches, but none of them is Dr. Mide, right? None of them is you. Yeah, I love that. Now, going deeper into the lifestyle coaching and lifestyle issues, can you give me 6 key lifestyle issues that you're hoping to help women with?
Well, I think there's a lot of lifestyle issues that women can be helped with. Things that come to mind, and that probably the most common would be basically financial literacy. Unfortunately, I believe a lot of women, we've suffered for many, many years from not being financially literate. We are now mostly independent and have our own jobs and all of that. But when it comes to financial literacy, we're still very much behind. And I do think that is the key to being free and living a purposeful life, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a certain amount of burden off of you once you are financially free or financially literate. And so that's number one. Other things that I think are lifestyle issues for women would be work-life balance, and in terms of career guidance. As women, they always tell you you can't have it all, or you can't have it all at the same time. And there may be some truth to the second line, but I feel like there are ways that we can navigate the system to ensure that we're balancing our work and our life. And work should be a part of our life. It shouldn't be draining. It shouldn't take away from our life. It should boost our life. And so I feel strongly and passionate about that. And then the career advice and guidance for women. I think that many women don't believe enough in ourselves about what we can achieve. And I think sometimes we let others put us on the back burner because we have the low self-esteem and don't really believe that we can rise to the top. But I've seen many women in my career and in my life rise to the top, and they have made positive impact, significant positive impact. And so I think career guidance for women out there is another key issue that a lot of women lack and that they need. Relationship advice is something else. There are experts out there that will help you with that. And it's not just about romantic relationships. I think even friendships and platonic relationships, how to, leverage those to make sure that it is two-sided and that you are getting what you need out of the relationship and vice versa, I think is key. And then entrepreneurship, and you're an expert at this, Dr. Iyabo. So having been an entrepreneur for almost, I think, 2 decades now, when you open your practice, you are very much aware that that is something that you advocate for. And I do think it's something that's very important. To me, it ties in with leadership, because when you are an entrepreneur, you are leading your own company, essentially.
Didn't I tell you guys that she is the phenomenon? Okay, it's not that she's a phenomenal woman. Dr. Mide herself is the phenomenon. This is our what, a 3rd day of coaching, or is it even 2nd day? I don't know why. It's like it's a 3rd day and she's already ready. So it's just amazing. And Dr. Mide is a phenomenal writer. I don't say this about many women. I don't say it about many women. There are two skills that will take you very, 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 very far in life: writing skills and speaking skills. And it's obvious to me that you have both, because we're doing the live today and you're speaking excellently. But when I saw the first thing you wrote and you sent to me, I'm like, an excellent writer, an excellent writer like me. So you heard all what Dr. Mide said, that she's passionate about helping you guys with, and I know she's qualified for all of them: financial literacy, work-life balance, what was number 3? Career advice, relationship advice, entrepreneurship, leadership skills. Wonderful, wonderful. So are you excited about helping women with all of these 6? I believe, from what I already know about you, because I'm a very intuitive person, I believe you can help women with all of this. Are you going to be helping women with all of this in some fashion?
Probably, right? Because, life doesn't exist in silos, right? So, when I'm touching on your emotional health and your mental health issues, your finances affect that. If you're in debt and you're stressed out and you're in a dead-end job, well, your mental health isn't going to be in the right place. So yes, to answer your question, I will be touching on all of those things. My specific areas of focus that I'll probably spend more time on will be more about the career guidance, leadership, as well as the health and wellness. But yes, we'll be touching on everything.
I love it. I love it. And I'm sure if you've been following some of my posts lately, I've been talking about how I disagree with what a lot of coaches talk about, where they say you must niche down, you must niche down, which means I think, well, yeah, I'm not sure if you heard the beginning of that, Dr. Midi. I was saying that I disagree with what a lot of coaches preach out there about niching down, especially with people who are new to business. If you've been in business for a long time, right? But in the service, I'm talking about in the service business, where if you have to niche down on all of your gifts and talents from the beginning, it's getting a lot of women confused. So like we just listed 6 things here that you are passionate about, which also includes health and wellness. And you're going to be sharing all of those on your platform and helping women. Imagine if I told you, Dr. Mide, you're a talented woman. You're you're a woman with multiple gifts. I only want you to talk about health and wellness on your platform. Don't talk about anything else, because I want you to totally niche down and not talk to women about anything else. You see where that would get you confused and say, okay, but how can I talk about health and wellness without talking to women about their financial literacy? Yeah. But how can I, so you see where that comes in. So anyway, I believe that you consider yourself financially literate, and I believe you are from our talk so far. You consider yourself financially independent, financially free to a great extent, right? And you're also in a leadership position. You're the medical director of the hospital where you work at. Now, you must have some unique gifts that have helped you achieve those, right? You must. So tell us about those. What are a few of your unique attributes that have helped you become financially independent?
Yes, I mean, I am so grateful. Financial literacy really is #1 priority and should be for a lot of women. It just takes a huge burden off of us, and you can actually expand your other gifts when you're not so worried and burdened with that. For me, in my experience and my life, I will say a couple of my personality or attributes that probably have really attain financial literacy despite being a physician. And I say despite being a physician because Dr. Iyabo is very aware that there are many physicians that are not financially literate or financially free, especially when you consider their student loan burden and things like that. So being a doctor does not get me a pass by any means. My personal attributes that have helped me really are things like my having an open mind. I went into medicine to be a lifelong learner. And so for me, when I was starting to put together my financial life and realizing that it didn't seem to be on par with where I wanted it to be, having that curiosity and that open mind to reach out to folks who could help me get it correctly, get it right, was very important for me. And I was open to learning about how do I budget? What do I need to do? How do I save for my future with retirement? What do I do for my kids in terms of education, making sure that their college is going to be paid for, things like that. And so that required me to learn all over again, things that I had never learned all of my life. So I think being open to learning and realizing that in life, we all need to be lifelong learners, and open to learning is one thing about me. And then I will say, in terms of being able to rise to the level of medical director, it really was about having grit and resilience and being persistent. We all will go through moments and times in life where doors will be shot in our face and people will tell us no. And you know what determines how things go for us is how we respond to that no. Do we turn around and cry and decide that we're never going to go down that route again? Or do we cry if we need to, but still wipe our tears off, pick ourselves up and try again, and, you know, improve our ability to ensure that we're able to get the roles that we want? So for me, I really feel like, you know, from when I started to work officially after graduating from residency about 9 years ago to now, it really has been a journey that demonstrates a lot of grit and resilience, because I had many no's, but I kept pushing because I felt like I believed that I could do this job. And it also required me to take some risks. And usually as a physician, many of us are not big risk takers, I'm gonna say. But I had to take some risks. I had to kind of leave the area that I had practiced for many years and branch out on my own and find other positions that I thought would more likely push me towards being a medical director. And so I think like those are some of my attributes that have really, really helped me. And then having self-confidence is probably the last one. Just believing in yourself that you can do it and you deserve it. I mean, there is nothing, absolutely nothing that anybody out there is doing, whether they're a man or woman, that you can't do in your own way. And so that confidence was instilled in me from a very young age. And I'm not going to say that I don't have moments of imposter syndrome, right? We're all human, where you kind of question, am I able to do this? But very quickly, those thoughts are put out of my mind. Like, the only way you fail is if you don't try at all. I truly, truly believe having that confidence, the grit, and the open mind are probably the top things for me.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Wow, wow. Women have a gift right here. Okay? Women have a gift right here. So if you're out there, before I even talk about what you just talked about, if you're a woman out there, okay, and you need coaching on anything lifestyle, anything leadership, anything financial freedom, and you're like, Dr. Iyabo's price is 25,000, I can't afford it. There you go. There's Dr. Mide for you. Dr. Mide will help you with almost everything I can help you with at not, I know she will not be charging 25,000 yet. Probably soon, probably just listening to her talk, probably much sooner than later. But Dr. Mide, you're a gift to womanhood, womankind, womanhood. Okay.
All of
Womanhood. Okay. So I'm not surprised that you're a leader. I'm not surprised that you're the medical director of a hospital. I'm not surprised because of all of these personality traits you have. You have an open mind, which means you're open to learning.
Yeah. So important.
You're open to learning. As smart as you are, because you are very smart, you're very intelligent, as smart as you are, you're still humble to seek coaching. You still came to me to learn more. So you have a growth mindset, and you're not arrogant. You're not you don't feel too big-headed to learn. That's number one. Essential for leadership, essential for success. Okay, grit. What can I say? You don't give up. You're like me. You're resilient. You're like me. I've received many no's in my life. I can almost take out no from my dictionary, because you can tell me no. You guys know the story of when I was looking for a loan to start my business. I got tons of no's. Even when I was looking to buy my dream home, I got tons of no's from mortgage companies. I kept going until I found what I was looking for. Okay? Grit, resilience, risk taker. What can I say about risk taking? If you are not ready to take any risks in life, if you're not ready to step out in faith and do it anyway, even if you're not sure of what the end results will be, you might as well just sleep in your house and cover your head with your sheets 24/7. No, really.
You're
Because
right.
even just being human, just stepping out of your door, you don't know what's going to happen. That itself is a risk. Taking a walk on the roadside is a risk. So if you're not going to take a risk, then you might as well just cover up and stay indoors 24/7 and not do anything. Self-confidence. Women need that. Even if, I'm telling you, Dr. Mide, if you're just a confidence coach, you'll become a millionaire. Okay? If you're just, yeah. If you're just a confidence and self-esteem coach, you'll become a millionaire, which you can be, because women need that. Women need that. Thank you for those personality attributes, because those are going to take you really far. There are a few questions. There's a lady who said that she's had 3 C-sections and it's been hard for her to get into shape. What do you recommend?
Well, I think first, that's a fantastic question. Congratulations on having 3 beautiful kids from your 3 C-sections. I think it's always important to realize and recognize that every woman is different and every pregnancy is unique. So even for the same woman, every pregnancy is unique. And postpartum time is so important. For your 3 C-sections, I don't know how spread apart your kids are, but I'm willing to bet that you probably gained some weight with the first pregnancy, didn't quite lose it all, and got pregnant the second time, same thing, and then the third time. So it's kind of accumulated over a few years. The key to kind of trying to lose some of your weight is, one, you gotta love your body regardless of its shape or its size, right? Because if you don't love your body, then you're not gonna treat it right. Okay, how do you treat your body right? The way you treat your body right is to treat it like a temple. So you want to make sure the things you are putting into your body are the right things. And you hear people talk about it all the time, a diet. And there are all kinds of, fad diets out there, but honestly, nothing, absolutely nothing beats eating well-balanced, small portion meals. Absolutely nothing. And, the other thing that we always talk about for women, especially if you're nearly postpartum, so if you just had a baby and if you are potentially nursing, is to make sure that you are getting in enough calories. It needs to be the right calories. You don't want to take in too few calories, and then you end up actually sending a negative feedback loop to your body to hold on to all of your excess fat. So that's important. So I don't know how far away you are from being postpartum or how old your youngest kid is, but I would say focusing on your diet. And there's no one diet that fits all. People will tell you about keto. They'll tell you about, all kinds of fad diets out there. Like I said, well-balanced meals that are small portioned is the key. So for example, breakfast. Let's say you want to have breakfast. What do you want? Maybe you want to do like a wheat toasted bread with, a boiled egg sandwich. Have a little 1 serving of fruits on the side of it, and maybe a little bit of avocado, right? That right there is a beautifully balanced meal, and you will be full. And you also want to try to make sure that you avoid simple carbohydrates. So what are simple carbohydrates? Things like white rice, things like, white bread, things that are very, very easily digested and broken down. Those things tend to increase our blood sugar levels and make us more prone to having medical conditions like diabetes. The other thing to work on when it comes to trying to lose weight is exercise. You hear this all the time, right? You have to have some form of activity that keeps your body moving. And I know everybody has different tolerance levels or different health conditions that may impact their ability to exercise, but you have to find something that works for you. So if you're someone who's got a bunch of joint problems, you want to make sure you're doing low impact exercises. Water exercises are really good for that because they don't have a huge impact on your knees and on the major joints that carry your weight. If you're somebody who you do not enjoy running, then walking is an option. Start small. Go out of your neighborhood, walk for a couple of miles, a mile to a location and a mile back. Count your steps. Make sure that you're getting about 10,000 steps a day. Every little thing counts. When you're post-pregnancy, one of the things that helped me, just being honest, is also focusing a little bit on strength training. And the reason I say that is because when we are pregnant, we have hormone levels that change everything about our bodies and actually degrade our muscles into fat. Okay. And that's all necessary for the baby to be well cushioned and to come out in the right, come out well. However, after the baby is out, it's so important to strength train so that you can actually get your muscle mass, build it back up, because that actually increases your metabolism so that you can actually lose the weight. The last thing I'll talk about really is sleep, okay? Sleep is super important. And I know that it's almost impossible with a newborn, which is why they always advise us sleep when baby sleeps. Oh Lord, it is so important because, and here's how I'm going to correlate it to you. So when you are not getting enough rest or sleep, studies have actually shown that it increases the level of some of our hormones called leptin and ghrelin, and those are our hunger hormones. So one of them tells us that we're full and to stop eating, and the other one tells us that we're hungry. When you're sleep deprived, those hormone levels are out of whack, so to say. And so you have nothing telling you that you're full and you're constantly eating. So you overeat, you get obese, and then you have a high risk of insulin resistance and diabetes. So, that's a lot of information, but I think the three main things are, your diet, so the food you eat, what are you putting into your body, exercise, how are you burning calories, and then sleep, getting some rest is very important because that ties into it all.
Dr. Mide, thank you so much for that. Benita, I hope that helped. But out of all this, I'm sure that a lot of women already know some parts of it or most of it. So this is why we need to preach about support, about asking for help, right? It's easier said than done. This is why all of you need Dr. Mide, okay? So if you're on this live or you're watching the replay, this is why you need her in your life, because if it was that easy, everybody would be getting slim and trim right after pregnancy, but she knows, she did it, okay, right? She did it. I did it too. When I have my kids are older, they're 24 and about to be 25 and 19. I did it too then, but Dr. Mide has done it recently. So go to her DM. Go to her DM, Benita. There's nothing, and this was the first thing she said about how she's been able to become financially independent and become a leader. She said she has an open mind and she seeks help and she seeks support.
Yes, very important.
It's so important. And look at her today. She's practicing what she preaches. She came to me to hire me as her coach. You know, she's already brilliant, she's already so good at what she does, but she wants to keep on elevating. And this is what I keep preaching to women, that you know, that thing that is in your mind that you want to do, that you want to do to help people, that you know, your goals, your dreams, they're not going anywhere, they're going to keep haunting you. So but you need support, you have to seek support, and Dr. Mide is here to help you. The next question, there's two other questions, but they're related. Dr. Mide, somebody says, how do women deal with the day-to-day balancing of life when they're burdened with the chores of life, right? How do they deal with balancing their day-to-day life? And then the other question was, how do you take on a leadership role while still being a mom and a wife?
Yeah, I mean, excellent questions. Those are the probably most common questions that women ask, professional, I would say, ask consistently. Because how do you, quote, have it all, essentially, is what you're asking. And I'll say it's very difficult for us because we as women are very, very poor at delegating. Okay. So we want to do it all ourselves. We want it done the exact way we want it done. And any other way is not the right way. And so for me personally, I've had to learn, especially as I rose on the administrative and leadership side of things, is that delegation is not a bad thing, okay? In fact, it makes you the most efficient at your actual job, okay? So being able to outsource or delegate certain tasks to others just helps you be an effective leader and team member. So that's the number one thing I'll say, because I know I was guilty of that for a long time, and it took me a while to finally realize that that is the key to me having time to do the things that are my absolute top priority. Okay, so that's the number one thing I'm going to say to women. Dr. Iyabo, I'm sure you agree.
I do agree, but what if they say, because I'm sure a lot of women are thinking out there, well, both of them are doctors. They're going to say Dr. Mide is a doctor, Dr. Iyabo is a doctor. It's easy for them to say they can afford all the help and all of that with delegating. What do you say to those women who say, I can't afford to get help?
I will say use the support you have around you. Okay. So before I could afford any help, that's what I had to do. And even at work, whatever your job is, you have team members. Okay. And we all know when we go to work, we have certain team members that are pulling their weight, and we have others that are not. And you have to drive them to do that. So from a work standpoint, I will say making sure that you do delegate to the other team members who are also being paid for the job. But on the home front, I would say using the support that you have around you, whether it be family or friends, having, you know, a friend who has kids that are similar ages, maybe they go to like the same school, maybe your friend can pick up your kid at the same time that they're picking up theirs, little things like that. And don't be too proud to ask for help. I just think a lot of times we all want to suffer in silence. We want to be super women and do it all on our own, but we need that support. And if we let our loved ones and friends help us, we'll all be the better for it.
Excellent. And you know what? There was something you said before that we, as women, we don't delegate because we want things done a particular way. And if they don't do it exactly as we want, so that's another thing that we need to relax, okay? Yeah. On some of, and I was like that when I was much younger. I wanted things done a particular way, a set way, but I had to relax on that because, you know, it's not going to be done exactly as you want. You know, you may get a babysitter who does some things differently from what you do, and then you get mad. As long as it's nothing bad that is hurting your child, it's fine. You know, so, and then another thing with delegating is that women need to just budget better, okay? They need to budget better, and they need to get their priorities in order. Okay.
Agreed.
So it's not everything it's not all our money that we should spend on adorning the outside of our body. Okay. Yeah. You can be the most beautiful and whatever on the outside, but if you're not happy on the inside, what's the point? So, you have to budget better. Women will say they can't afford a babysitter at $10 an hour, but if you look at what they're wearing from head to toe, from the weave to the wigs to the everything to the designer bag, all that it will pay for a babysitter for 6 months.
Yes, I agree.
You
I,
know?
I always say it's not how much you make, it's how much you save. So you
Yes.
have to be able to budget. It doesn't matter how much you make. If you can, most people can outspend whatever their income is. Okay, if we all let go, we can outspend our incomes, because then we can just go crazy and just buy whatever we want. But it's
Yeah.
all about how do you save up, and what is of value to you? What do you value the most, right? I think that's a question that every human, not just women, should ask ourselves, and then prioritize based on that.
Yes.
I value being adorned from head to toe in designer outfits over paying a babysitter to take care of my kids so that I can do some of the other things that actually make me happy. That's a
So because I believe every woman can afford help. When I started getting help, I had huge credit card debt, but I still had to get help because I knew what I was working towards. I had just started my practice. I still had a huge credit card debt. I still had the big business loan that I took, but I knew that I had to delegate in order to still keep rising. Women always want to wait until everything is perfect, until I don't have any more debt and I don't. No, no, no. You're going to have to make some risky decisions altogether. So I went to care.com. That's where I got my babysitters and nannies from. I didn't have any family here that could help me. I had little kids, so I went to care.com and I hired, college students for like $8 an hour, $10 an hour. That's what I did. And I had to do that because my kids were in so many activities. And I did that so that I could keep working on myself, exercising, taking care of my relaxation, working on my business that was still brand new, and all those other things. So women, you can afford it. You have to self-development first. Okay?
yes.
Yeah. Self-development first. The people you're dressing up for, they really don't care that much. And honestly, and you're adorning yourself up for a man. If it is a high quality man, listen to me, women, okay? If it's a high quality man, he may be attracted to the physical very quickly. But once he sat down to talk with you for some time and he sees that you're really empty on the inside and all you talk about is all of the material things, he's gone.
Very
Okay? He's gone. You can have the biggest boobs, the biggest boob job, the biggest everything job. You know me, I'm going to turn it into seriousness here. You can have the biggest boob job. You can be Miss Universe. You can be as beautiful as whatever. But I'm talking about high quality men. I'm not talking about other men. A high quality man who wants a woman of substance will quickly figure out that you are not worth his time. So, this jacket that I'm wearing, I like to give examples. I'm not lying. This jacket I bought it from a thrift store. It was secondhand. I
that's
bought it. Yeah, I bought it from a thrift store here in Buckhead. I bought it for about $20 or maybe $15. I took it to the dry cleaners to dry clean it. And here it is. And this dress I'm wearing is from Show Me Your Mumu. It was probably $40. This headband is from CVS 3 for like $5. So my earrings are not gold. They're from J. Crew. 3 in a,
right.
so women, these are things. I do have some expensive things. Yes, I have my Louis Vuitton bag here, but I'm not Louis Vuitton from head to toe.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's despite the fact that you probably can afford to do that if you wanted to. And so you can imagine those who definitely cannot afford that, but choose to spend their funds on that instead of on the other thing. So you got to put your money where your mouth is. If this is what you value and this is what's most important to you, is making sure you get child care so that you can develop yourself, so that you can then improve your entire situation, you have to be willing to make some sacrifices.
Dr. Mide, let me ask you, would you have been able to lose the weight with both your kids if you didn't have help?
Absolutely not. Oh my gosh. No way. I would not have had time to, work out, to go to the gym, to do any of that stuff. Absolutely not. I absolutely needed the help. And it's been amazing. And just being able to have some me time is key too when you're a mom, especially for every human, first of all, but for moms, we all know the kids want to be with us all the time if they could, but for our own sanity, it's good to have time to develop yourself, not just physically, but also emotionally, right? So that we can be the best moms and that we can possibly be. So I definitely would not have had the ability to do it without actually having help.
So let's just go right into the tips for getting into shape post childbirth. The first tip is support, 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 delegate, delegate, get your budget right, stop spending on things to impress people that don't even care who you are. I'm
Very,
telling you.
very
No,
true.
it's true. It's true because you're dressing, people will say they're dressing up for themselves. I don't believe it. Women, yeah, maybe some. A lot of women dress up to impress other people, to compete with other people, and those people honestly don't care. So you're impressing them, your bank account is empty, you don't have money for coaching, you don't have money for a babysitter, you're not improving yourself. Please, what are the other tips, Dr. Mide, for
Other
how women can get into shape?
Yes, other tips are to make sure that you're getting enough sleep, like I talked about, so that you're not shooting yourself in the foot by doing all of these other things but not resting enough. If you're not getting enough rest, you also honestly, your immune system gets depressed and you're going to be more prone to picking up all kinds of infections. And so I think that between making sure you're delegating, making sure that you're budgeting appropriately and you're getting help and support, you got to get rest, so that you're in the right frame of mind to actually do whatever it is you need to do. You can imagine trying to stick to a diet when you're so exhausted you can barely keep your eyes open. You're just going to grab the first burger that comes when you drive by any of the fast food places. You're just going to stop and eat because you literally have no reserve and you cannot hold back. So rest is super, super, super important. And I know that's difficult for a lot of women to understand, but it's the truth. It's the honest truth.
Okay, so any other tips? I think you had said it before, the food we eat, exercise, right?
Exercise.
Yeah, let me see.
You know,
Yeah.
you got to calories in, calories out. It doesn't get much simpler than that, to be honest with you. So you have to have a good, healthy diet, and portion control, I think, is where a lot of us fail. Where we eat large portions. If you actually look at servings on the back, on the packaging of a lot of the things we buy, and you use those serving sizes, you will do good for yourself. I think a lot of times we assume a bag of stuff is the serving, but that bag actually has 6 servings in it. Well, guess what? You just ate 1,000 calories instead of 150 or whatever the case may be. So I think really being mindful of that is going to be super important for folks who are trying to lose weight. And then exercise. The exercise, I think that it varies based on the things you enjoy. I would rather you choose an exercise that you're going to be consistent with, right? Than choosing something that's super difficult, but that you're only going to do one time and never go back to it.
Yeah.
Consistency is key for all of this as well. And remember that it took you 9 months. Give your body grace. It took you 9 months of pregnancy to put on all of this weight. Extend that grace onto yourself and realize that it will likely take longer than that to get back to your body or anything close. And that's okay. You don't have to be on anybody's timeline. I understand that there's this whole culture of, quote, snap back in 2 months and look like you were never pregnant or never had a baby. One, that's unrealistic, okay? It's just unrealistic, Dr. Iyabo. You know this. And
yeah.
it's actually an unfair expectation and burden that we've put on a lot of women which, you know, social media hasn't really helped with that because we see all the pictures. But as you all know, there's all kinds of filters and things that you can do to make yourself look a lot different than you really look.
Like now, I have a filter on. Yeah, you know, I don't know how to show you with and without filter. I have a filter on now. So, yeah.
And that's okay to use it, but just realize that
Yes.
you see is not exactly themes.
Yeah.
So give yourself that grace and time to actually get your body back into shape without beating yourself up. Your body just performed an incredible feat. Pregnancy is incredible. The pressure it puts on us, I mean, what it does to our body, every single part of our body is affected. So give yourself grace and give yourself time to get back to where you want to be. And that's where the consistency comes in, because I think sometimes folks work out for a month or diet for a month and expect it to all be taken care of, but you have to be consistent.
And that also goes back to support. The way you
Yeah.
can be consistent is if you have support in every part of your life. You have support with your kids, you have support with your goals, and you know, you have a coach, you have you need support. Yeah, so we've been talking a lot about physical health, which of course is really important, but I want us to talk about the other part of health, which is the emotional and the mental health of us women after we have kids, because that's a big one. So how do women cope with all of the emotional ups and downs after childbirth?
Yes, that is a doozy. That is a big one, like you said. Gosh, postpartum, you know, when we're pregnant, first of all, our hormone levels are basically through the roof. And then what happens after we have a baby is that there's somewhat of a crash, to be honest with you. And it's really difficult for a lot of women after you have a baby, especially if it's your first baby and you really don't know what to expect, to figure out how do I cope with this and why am I feeling this way? First of all, I'd like to say that sometimes folks have, most women have what we call postpartum blues, which is just kind of feeling a little bit down and trying to figure out a way to bond with the baby. And that's normal. And it takes time. And as your hormone levels kind of come back and level out, that's going to improve. The important things are to try to maintain a good routine, have support, and get as much rest as you can, which is why they say sleep when the baby sleeps. The other thing that a lot of women have, actually about 1 in 8 women postpartum have postpartum depression. This is a very, very serious issue, and it's more common than we think. I just said 1 in 8 women who have kids. I mean, that is an insane number if you stop to think about it. And a lot of women go through this, unfortunately, and suffer in silence. And there's absolutely no need for that. I know that at the 6-week postpartum screen, when you go to see your OB-GYN, they do have a screening for that asks you about your mood and things like that. And I think a lot of women need to be more comfortable being honest. There's nothing to be ashamed about. You just went through an incredible, incredible journey of being pregnant and then birthing this baby. You know, the first 3 months postpartum, we like to think of as the 4th trimester, right? Because literally you're still adjusting to all of these changes that are happening to your body.
Yes.
So I think it's important that women realize that, one, you're not alone. 1 in 8 women have postpartum depression. That's a very high number.
That's
2,
more than 10%. That's like 12%.
Of women. And 2, ask for help. Ask for help. So talk to your doctor about this, because they can get you the help that you need. And I know sometimes people feel like, well, doctors just want to shove medications down my throat. One, first of all, the treatment depends on severity. It might not even require medication. The other thing that helps a lot of women, to be honest, is therapy. Therapy is so important. So having a clinical psychologist that you can talk to, that's trusted, to kind of talk about your emotions, because with the hormones you will have lots of highs and lows, and so it's very helpful to have that person in your corner that can help you. And if you don't want to talk to a therapist, then there are other things you can do. Journaling is one of them. It can help you really get those emotions out, so that you feel like you are venting to somebody, even though it's just going on paper. It's still very therapeutic. It's just the act of getting those thoughts out of your mind. And so I would say that it's really common. You're not alone. Get help. Please get help.
I'm so glad we brought this up because mental health, has really been in the news lately. And sometimes we forget about, that mental wellness after childbirth.
Yeah.
It's not easy. It's like you have this human that you've just produced who is now fully dependent on you. You can't just get up and say, I'm going to Starbucks to get a coffee. You have to think about how you're going to bundle that human with you. And, it's a whole, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a lot. It's a lot. So I'm glad we touched on this. And before I ask you the last question, Dr. Midi, I did want to, and you had talked about this earlier, I wanted to emphasize because people like to give generalized statements, especially when it comes to money and doctors and all of that. I actually tell my daughters, and I tell a lot of other youngsters, or the thousands of medical students that I have mentored over the years, I ask them and I say, are you going into medicine to get rich? Okay. And the ones that say yes, I tell them, you're not going to get rich. You're not going to get rich as a doctor. Okay. Unless you go into some specialties, right? You're not going to be, you'll be okay. You'll be comfortable. But if you're actually looking to build wealth, if you're looking to get into that, $1 million, all of that, probably not. You're in the wrong profession. The ones who tell me, oh, I just want to be a doctor so I can help people. I really love it. And I'm like, fine, good choice. So I wanted to put this out there to emphasize again, because I've heard this all my life, and people say, oh, but it's because you're a doctor that you could. It's because you're a doctor. And I want to make it clear to people again that being a doctor is fantastic. I love being a doctor, even though I love being an entrepreneur more than being a doctor. I have to say that truth, honestly. I love the business side of medicine. I love the administrative side of medicine. I love coaching. I love all this. I loved being a doctor. I still love being a doctor, but not as much as an entrepreneur. But what I'm trying to get out there is that don't look at doctors and generalize and say, how once they say they're financially literate or financially independent, it's because they're doctors, because that's actually not true. Okay. Yes. There are many people and in many other professions, especially in entrepreneurship, that are a lot wealthier than doctors. And wealth is not just about money. I always say, if you say you're wealthy and you don't have time to spend the money, and you're constantly burnt out, and you only have 2 to 4 weeks vacation a year, and yes, you may live in the biggest mansion on the hill, you may drive the biggest Bentley, but are you truly happy? Do you truly have time, freedom? And, so this is another complex topic, which Dr. Midi and I will discuss another day, financial freedom and time freedom. But what I'm trying to get out there is that I don't want anybody to watch this video and just generalize and say, oh, Dr. Iyabo and Dr. Midi, oh, they're both doctors, that's why they have money. Don't listen to them. It's because they're both doctors. The reason why I'm financially free is because I'm an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Not because I'm a doctor. Okay, and let me repeat that. The reason why I've been a 7-figure earner for 14 years is because of entrepreneurship, not because I'm a doctor. The reason why Dr. Mide is financially literate and financially free and building more and more wealth, because she's a little younger than me, building more and more wealth, is because of her leadership position as a medical director. Right? So this is why we're both here, to teach you entrepreneurship, to teach you leadership, because that will help you on your path to truly becoming financially free. Dr. Mide, tell us a little bit about your schedule. We're almost done. About how, as a leader, how you're not always on the clinical front. Tell us about that.
My work, thankfully, now that because also was 100% clinical work before, and it definitely can be tasking in terms of just trying to maintain that schedule and care for so many patients and give them the high level care that I'm used to giving to my patients. And so for me, really making the transition after I earned my master's in healthcare management was to try to up in a position where I am impacting the lives of people, yes, my patients clinically, but also making a difference with my leadership role. And so my schedule really consists of me working for 1 week a month as a, putting my clinical hat on, as we say, 1 week a month. I do that, I take care of the patients, I deal with everything patient care related that week. And the remaining, 20 days, however many days I left in the month, I'm on my administrative schedule, which is more just like a regular, 9 to 5, and I've got, thankfully, the flexibility to be remote with a lot of those days. So that has afforded me with being in a position where I've got financial freedom, but also time freedom, as Dr. Iyabo put it, to be honest with you. And I didn't have that before. So, as you have your eye on the goal and you work towards certain things, making sure that you are prioritizing those things that you value the most is super important when making life decisions or transitions, like switching career paths, becoming an entrepreneur. You have to think about what is most important to me, and then help use that to make the decision.
Excellent, excellent. And this is why we're both here. We're both passionate about educating women about how to really have that financial and time freedom. Because if you make all the money and you get sick in the process and you don't have any time to relax, you don't have do nothing time. A lot of women don't have do nothing time. Okay, I have do nothing time. There's sometimes I'm laying on this sofa and I'm fast asleep and my family is making fun of me like, how does she just sleep in the middle of the day? And I thank God that I've never had an insomnia problem. I probably had a hint of insomnia when I first started having my hot flashes at age 48, but it was very temporary. But I sleep very well. I can sleep on water. I can sleep at any time. But that's because I'm an entrepreneur, because I own my own practice. So entrepreneurship, leadership, we're here to help. So Dr. Mide, I'm sure your DMs will be full starting from today. So I hope you're ready. So let's round up this wonderful, wonderful conversation with how can people sign up for your coaching? How can they come to you for help?
Yes. I'm going to talk about for now and then the future. So
Yes.
current time frame, the way to reach out to me is via Instagram. So send me a direct message with the words coaching in it. And that way I'll know that you're interested in signing up for my programs, and we can talk about what the focus topic needs to be for you, while we're also addressing the other things that we talked about, right? So no silos here. We're going to touch on everything, but we're going to also focus on the number one topic that you want us to discuss. And then in the future, so future reference, where I'm going to have a website, which would be a way for folks to also contact me and sign up for my program. So, but for now, send me direct messages and I will respond.
This was so wonderful. Part 2 will be coming up soon. Dr. Mide and I are going to be going live quite often because I love to talk, and it's obvious, and it's obvious she loves to talk. I love to help women, and it's obvious she loves to help women, and we're passionate about so many similar things. So we will be back soon, but we'll always schedule it. It will be on my page or on Dr. Mide's page. So if you're on this live and you haven't yet followed Dr. Mide, go, just pause now and go and follow her. Or if you're watching the replay, right? Because many are going to watch this replay on Instagram. I'm also going to post it on my YouTube. If you're on YouTube watching this video, pause the video. The video isn't going anywhere. Pause it, go to Instagram, find Dr. Mide on my page, go and follow her page, because as you can see, you don't want to miss anything she's teaching. She'll be going live often with or without me. And if you're on Instagram, go and follow her right now. Send her a DM. Again, as I've said, she can teach you almost everything that I'm teaching. Okay. And she's not as expensive as me yet. So just run to her DM. Okay. And the beauty of this is what I call the beauty of that web of knowledge. I love to sit down and visualize how if I coach 5 people, those 5 people will go to coach another 50 people. Those 50 people will go to coach another 1,000. So what Dr. Mide is learning from me, she's going to pass it on to you. And how beautiful will it be that she's passing it on to you even as she's learning even more and more from me. I love that web of knowledge. Don't you love it, Dr. Mide? How you can think that what you are teaching somebody today, they may take it to France or they may take it to Indonesia to teach somebody else.
Yes, it really is the way, it's like a snowball effect, but positively, because you are impacting a few people and then they impact even more and then even more, and it just keeps going. And that way we change things for women around the world.
We do. But that is if more of us come out and start owning our gifts and using our voice. So, but we will help you. That's what we're here for. Thank you, Dr. Mide. God bless you. Thank you for sharing all of this. And thank you to everyone who joined this live. Thank you if you're watching the replay. We will be back soon. Have a wonderful evening. God bless you all. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Dr. Iyabo. Bye.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Dr. Mide. Bye.